Welcome to our live after 5. This evening, I'd like to chat to you about something that's actually come up twice this week and something that comes up a lot for sellers that people need to really understand. If you're selling your property and you carried out any structural works to your property, it's really important that you have planning permission, or at least planning permission afterwards, retrospectively or later, which is called retention, or a certification from an engineer. So for example, one particular property owner that we met and spoke to recently had built a additional unit on the site which was being used as a garage stroke office, and there was no planning permission for it. So that person needs to actually get planning retention, and a very good engineer in advance to going to market will advise on that, and it usually takes about 3 months. There is no avoiding it. It has to be done. In terms of a structural extension within the 40 square meters allowance, so in other words, if you don't need planning permission, you've built on a little extension because it's within the allowed size, the allowable size, you still need to get a certificate from an engineer. So it's called a certificate of compliance. It's really important. So they basically provide a cert to say that it was done correctly. If you have knocked down any walls, internal walls, you'll need a cert of compliance. So we had somebody recently who was selling their property. They had an extension within the allowable size. They didn't need planning permission. They bought the property about 10 years ago and said, I don't need a cert of compliance because I bought it and all the paperwork was done. I said, great, have you a copy of the paperwork? No. So that means if there's no copy of the paperwork, it doesn't exist. So a solicitor acting for a buyer will insist on that. So certs of compliance, very important. Obviously you don't need it for something like a new kitchen or, painting or anything decorative, but any structural work, you have to have a cert of compliance, and you will have to have planning permission or at least retention afterwards if it's outside of that size. And it's really good to engage a solicitor who looks at these things and an engineer in advance to going to market, because it can delay your sale by 3, 4 and 5 months beyond the time you've secured a buyer. And people get shaky then, or they go off and they find something else. And hopefully when you hire a really good agent, they will advise you about all these important things. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. And as I always say, slán go fóill.